You're watching the Local Footy Show, and we always love to pay tribute to those people who've made the great game of Australian rules what it is. And fellas, some of those people are the great football commentators over the years.
There's been some really good ones amongst them.
Certainly have voices we've grown up with. Benny, you and I were privileged to go along and catch up with the great Mike Williamson recently.
Tap down, Potter has it, he can't break clear, it's taken by Green, that's a point, St Kilda in front, If I close my eyes I can still see Barry Breen kick that.
It's nearly 50 years since the dulcet tones of Mike Williamson, along with colleagues Butch Gale and Ted Whitten, left an indelible mark on the memories of a generation and consigned some golden moments to footy folklore.
Oh, Michael, you might be right. This could be a draw.
I tip this. Why not? He'll be paid the mark.
Slow it down, slow it down.
Yes, he's taking your advice, all right, Ted. Can the Saints hang on and win their first ever?
They've got it.
28 and a half minutes gone.
Hit the boundary line.
Now 82 and recovering from a recent stroke, Mike recalls the beginning of his long journey, which began in the late 1950s, just as the new medium of television was forming what would be a lasting partnership with football.
I went to South Street at Ballarat and I won a scholarship to the Vincent School of Broadcasting. And I studied for a while there and got a job at 3AK. I used to audition almost every morning at 3AW. When I went past, they eventually employed me and I went to Channel 7 later.
And it was at 3AW that Mike cut his teeth on football commentary.
Yeah, with Bill Jacobs, Norman Banks. We didn't have positions in those days, but we called it from where we could. And we're over the coach's box at Glenferrie Oval. And we were going on with the match, and John Kennedy stepped out of the coach's box and said to me, "For God's sake, Mick, shut up. I can't hear myself." So I shut up.
But being among the crowd could have its drawbacks.
I remember at North Melbourne, Auntie Mary out there, I don't know her name, she hit me over the head with a handbag. She forgot she had a bottle of something in it. I guess it was perfume, but it could have been, something stronger. And hit me over the head with it. So I shut up there.
In those early days, facilities for football commentators were primitive, with little more than a scaffold and a tarpaulin.
Radio was like that, and then I went to Channel 7. Alf Potter, he was pretty good. We finished up with the separate boxes, and probably not as good as they are now, but it's a big change from nothing. We'd have a monitor, and Alf Potter was the director, and he would issue instructions from the van down below. Well, he could see the whole ground perspective, what was happening. And we could see where he pointed the cameras.
How many cameras were there, Mike? Do you remember?
There were 3. They're all over the place now, aren't they?
Before running sheets became such a large part of his life, Mike was more comfortable in running shoes.
I used to run a stall in Bendigo. I never won it, but I used to run there. Yeah, I told you about my father. He had 100 pounds on me one night when they used to have the professional athletics. And Greta said, I took her out before we were married to the bookmakers lined up out there. And I came back down the track. I told her, don't back me, I'll be dead tonight. That's when I got rubbed out for 3 months for not trying. As I came down the track back after the heat, the crowd started to boo. that had money on me. And this greeter stuck up for me. She turned to the fellow and said, "He wasn't even trying. Shut up, you fool." And he did. But unbeknownst to her, the chief steward heard it. And then I was called into an inquiry into that, and I wasn't trying. I got rubbed out for 3 months.
Mike also enjoyed his footy, but a playing career was out of the question.
I never had time. I trained with Collingwood once, and Len Fitzgerald was, he played there. He was at the Herald office with me. He went to Adelaide and won 3 McGarry medals. I couldn't keep up with him. Oh, well, I thought commentating would be easier, and I knew what I was good at and bad at. I was bad at playing football. I like playing football.
Mike Williamson was to become an icon of 1960s television in Melbourne. And in those early days of TV, versatility was the name of the game. As well as calling the footy and hosting the Saturday night replay, Mike hosted a variety of other programs, including Football Inquest, Kevin Dennis Football Show, Tell the Truth, and Penthouse Club. They were heady days, but what was the secret of their success?
Getting the right people it was the early days of television. Getting fellas like Jack Edwards, who died recently, and Blue Adams. He was the Australian sprint champion then. He was very good as questioning. I changed from year to year, not dramatically, but as I learnt to put them together.
It was live television on the run, with no such thing as rehearsal.
No, we didn't have time for that. We'd call a match and go in there for the replay, into the studios, and go straight into Football Inquest. On the Friday night, we had the Kevin Dennis Football Show.
In those pioneering days, there was no template, no precedent, just raw enthusiasm and the sense of blazing new trails.
It was all new to everybody, and probably thought we'd all remember the moments, that we wouldn't get any older, but we did.
The game and the players were also quite different then.
They worked for £3, or played for £3 a week, and had jobs, and invited the opposition to join the barbecue, and they were more mates in those days. And
they were referred to as the Commentary Dream Team, and Mike, Alan Butch Gale and the great Ted Whitten left us some commentary gems that have passed into footy folklore.
28.5 minutes gone. Hit the boundary line.
Well, Teddy sang out, "Hit the boundary," and
to the wing position on the member stand side. Oh, Jesselenko, you beauty!
well, they yelled out, "Jesselenko, you beauty." I remember that because he was a close friend, and it was remarkable, the people who said to me, "Did you rehearse that?" I said, "Rehearse it? I didn't know he was going to take the mark." And he certainly didn't know he was going to take the mark. It just happened. I just came out, "Jesselenko, you beauty." Like Teddy Whitten sang out, "Hit the boundary." And the Butch sang out, "I'm having a heart attack," which he eventually did.
This is madness. They're all on the ball. A magnificent effort by both teams, and to win a grand final by 1 point. I'm shaking. I don't know how you feel, but it's the most emotional thing I think I've ever seen in my life.
Butch was Mike's co-commentator for many years after his retirement from the game.
He was good. I thought Ted Whitten and myself were tags. We were all new to television then.
Visitors to Mike's apartment these days have little trouble in finding the right door.
Jane Thompson, the ex-Premier's wife, she lives here. She put it there when I was in hospital, and it's remained there ever since.
The style of calling has changed a bit since those early days, with this laid-back finale to Hawthorn's very first premiership in 1961, a far cry from today's excited hype and endless statistics.
Well, as I said earlier, history, you can see the scoreboard. An historic scoreboard here at the MCG. Hawthorn's first premiership flag coming up. They've been playing just over 29 minutes in this quarter. So Hawthorn, you can start deciding where to put that flag out there at Glenferrie Oval.
Yeah, there wasn't as much to talk about as now. And they run like hares up and down the ground, and it's hard to follow, isn't it? Maybe I'm an old timer.
He's met solidly. Stewart has it. Stewart runs into Morrow. A hand pass across to Cooper. Cooper drives it forward.
Mike remembers learning the players' numbers with the help of his family.
Well, Michelle and Geraldine, my daughters, and my son, young Mike, he's gone to God. Well, the three of them, particularly the girls, still remember me with rehearsing the numbers, and they got 2 bob for every, in the days of pounds, shillings and pence, for every one I misfired on.
Mike has seen the champions of many eras at close hand.
Oh yeah, I can go back to John Coleman's day. I said to Dick Reynolds once, why don't you play him up the ground in the centre? And Dick Reynolds looked at me and said, I can't get the bugger to walk that far. John Coleman, if you remember, he'd go straight up for a mark. And I said to Peter Hudson one day, why don't you go straight up in the air? And he said, I prefer to salvage my knees by not going straight up. He said, all I do is stick my fat bum out and mark from that, which he did. He'd hold a pack out with his fat bum, he said.
So who does Mike rate as the best he has seen?
Coleman, Whitten, going back a few years, Skilton. Well, Bobby Skilton reckons that Ted Whitten was the best player that he saw, and he won 3 Brownlow medals.
Away from the TV cameras, Mike shared a successful act with his good mate, Channel 9 comedian Joff Allen.
Well, I was on 7, he was on 9, but I was his straight man for years.
Okay.
Around the music halls and that. I used to run up on stage and I'd be the straight man. And he'd hand me a telegram. He'd say, is that a no or an I? I can't read it. I'd say, it's a no. Get off, you fool. And he'd say, thank God my brother shot himself.
Mike also hosted the Penthouse Club with the incomparable Mary Hardy. But it was a punishing schedule that involved long hours for Mike.
We'd go in the afternoon and then night, and the Penthouse Club straight into the rehearsal with Mary Hardy and the show live. In fact, Tommy Hayfair, who died recently, he'd come around to our place in Beaumaris for Monday to find out what I was talking about on a Saturday night. I didn't understand myself. That's when I left, when Case wanted me to come in on the Sunday morning, the World of Sport. I said, I'm gone if it's Sunday morning after football, golf or tennis, and then the replay and the Penthouse Club with Mary Hardy on Saturday night. I said, I'm buggered. He couldn't understand that. He thought I was being hard to manage, but I wasn't. I was really tired.
Mike, who was awarded an OAM in 2006 for his charity work, shows he has lost none of his wit when asked if he would do anything different if he had his time over.
I wouldn't have a stroke. No, I don't think so.
Mike Williamson, a commentary legend from a golden era of football. Thanks for the memories, Mike.
Potter has it, he can't break clear. It's taken by Green. That's a point. That's a point. St Kilda in front. I tip this. Oh, Jesselinko!